So there's been a big debate about Star Wars Episode 9 and the effect it will have on Star Wars The Last Jedi. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one of the biggest questions of all involving Episode 9 is exactly how will Episode 9 actually have an effect on Star Wars The Last Jedi is a huge question to this very day. Now, we do know that Episode 9 will be changing certain elements of Star Wars The Last Jedi, and that could honestly just dwindle down to three main things, at least in my point of view. Something to do with Luke Skywalker, Snoke, and or Rey's lineage. And if we look at those three characters, those are the three main things that could absolutely be changed in Star Wars Episode 9 that will reflect on The Last Jedi. Now, there's a big debate on all of this, on whether or not it's even a good idea that Episode 9 would change certain elements of course, The Last Jedi. You know, there are a number of people out there who do enjoy the film. However, there's also a lot of people out there who dislike the movie, based on a lot of the decisions that were made by Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, etc. So, looking at Episode 9 specifically, we do know that Mark Hamill is back as Luke Skywalker. There's a lot of hints here and there that Andy Serkis is coming back, and if he is, it's most likely Supreme Leader Snoke, because that falls directly in line with what we have been hearing about from all of the storyboard and concept art descriptions, etc. And then we have the other thing, J.J. Abrams changing certain elements of the character of Rey in Episode 9. Now, I believe that all has to do with her lineage, since we do know that J.J. and Chris aim to give her a very important lineage in this movie in comparison to The Last Jedi. I mean, even John Williams has expressed it before in the past that he just doesn't believe that Rey is a nobody and her parents are nobodies. And that could be one of the reasons as to why we are possibly going back to Jakku to explore a lot of that. So, where do I stand in all this? I think that it's a good idea to actually change certain elements of The Last Jedi in Episode 9. I think it's a great thing. Is it a little bit of too much bouncing back and forth in the sequel trilogy? Yes, we saw this between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. You know, there were a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of questions were set up that weren't answered, and hopefully J.J. Abrams will be able to actually pull all of this off and actually make this film stand out from the other two movies, which he will be able to do at the end of the day if he inserts the right type of nostalgia and fan service and really get the fans just having a fun time and enjoying it. As long as he can do that, I think that this movie will absolutely stand out from both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, as long as it has a good story, fan service with substance and meaning, purpose, and if he just has a great ending overall to the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself. Now, when we look at J.J. Abrams, there's a common thing that people say, is that he's a great fixer, but not the greatest closer. And that leaves a lot of people worried right now. Is he going to be able to pull it off? Is he going to be able to actually end this movie correctly? If you think about it, it is a huge deal. This is the final Skywalker saga movie. This is like kind of sitting in the situation where, at the time, Return of the Jedi was going to be the last Star Wars movie. And that's how things just ended. There was no thought about the First Order coming into play. So in this scenario, alright, we've gotten a lot of clues by John Boyega and some other actors out there that this movie is really going to be an all-out war, and a war that will end all wars. And could this directly fall in line with exactly why the Skywalker saga has to end? Because a part of this storyline is that this is going to be the last war conflict, chronologically speaking, of course. And I think that, I think it's possible that Disney and Lucasfilm, they could just be saying that for now, that this is the last Skywalker saga film, and if they really wanted to, if Episode 9 really does become a huge hit, and people want more Skywalker stuff, I think that they would release more Skywalker films without a doubt. Whether it would be the continuation of either the Solo or the Skywalker bloodline, somehow, some way, they could do it. As long as there's possibilities in Episode 9 to expand off of, you can absolutely do it. Now, the other thing that I do want to go over is that we do know that this movie is going to have a lot of ties to the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, And a lot of people think it's either a good or a bad thing, because this movie, alright, it's going to be tying into not only The Last Jedi and changing certain elements of that movie, but it will also be borrowing elements from the prequels and the originals in this film in order to make it a unique and pretty much different experience than we have ever seen before for a Star Wars movie. Which, is interesting, but, at the same time, it's leaving some people out there very worried on whether or not this could change our perspective, our view, alright, on the prequels and the originals, depending on what JJ and Chris Terrio insert into the movie. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.